popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Media popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. What is up, little biscuits and sun-dried tomatoes? It's your boy, Eddie Collins.
Guys, it's Justin Brown.
And we are Media Popcorn, spoiling movies. But you already knew that because you listened to that amazing song and you heard us ad-libbing and getting you excited for the movies, the stories, all the giggles to be had. And to help us break down the crazy 1996 Tim Burton sci-fi comedy mark Mars Attacks. The homies from the Black Man Can't Jump in Hollywood podcast. James and Jonathan, how y'all doing?
I don't know.
The world's falling apart. Let's watch some more.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, the world is falling apart. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, that aside,
I wish aliens would attack.
Yeah.
Truly, that was my thought the entire time.
ICE is conducting raids in our neighborhood right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys in the back. I know that's probably a lot. Hopefully everyone's doing okay.
That's okay.
To some degree.
Yeah. I mean, listen, something's attacking.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know what's wild is like when you watch satire like this now, where like, you have like incompetent like government and people reacting poorly to like extreme situations, you're just like, is this funny anymore? Like, can I enjoy this kind of comedy anymore? Like Jack Nicholson being an insane buffoon as the president, right? You're like, oh no.
Well, I mean, at least this president believes in peace.
He wants peace.
He's trying to keep peace.
Whenever I see stuff like this
that's
now,
all you can wish.
Exactly. Yeah. If only a leader who wishes for peace. Whenever I see something like this right now, I think about that tweet from Jordan Peele. Get Out was a documentary. That echoes in my brain every time I see stuff like this, where it's like, no, and this is too. This is capturing exactly what would be going on.
Yeah, there would be ex-boxers that are like playing Egyptians at like not the Luxor in Vegas maybe, but there's definitely like a sad casino in Atlantic City that just opened up where like, they got like, George Foreman's like grandson, like selling waffle makers and stuff.
They used to do that though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What was his name? Oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? The famous boxer.
Tyson.
No. No, not like Tyson.
An older boxer.
Oscar Hernandez.
No, the Brown Bomber.
George Foreman. Justin, it's not our fault. You old and can't remember.
There's a boxer, and he used to do appearances in the casinos like this.
Oh, wow.
Much just like this way back in the day.
Joe Louis was the Brown Bomber show.
Joe Louis, sorry.
Joe Louis. Oh, you went way back. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Louis. Yeah. And I think they also was just like, hey, let's give you a gambling debt, and so you'll never leave.
Of course.
Sheesh.
Of course. That's how you hook them.
Sad.
Nobody wants to stay in Vegas.
Sad.
You know what I mean?
Everyone is there against their will.
Did you all James and Jonathan, did you all see Mars Attack when it first came out? Because I remember seeing this in the theater.
Yes.
I didn't see it in the theaters, but I definitely saw it immediately when it came out on VHS.
Same.
Because I remember I definitely wanted to. I remember. I mean, I did see Independence Day in the theater, and I remember when Independence Day was coming out, and they had like, I was living in New York at the time, and the posters in all the subways just said like ID4, and then like
it's
and I was just like, whoa, what is that? And then I think
I miss those days.
Yeah,
I miss those days when it was just like
it's like
title
the countdown.
Or like I remember like for 007 because I didn't know the series, and it just looked like oof to me. Like when Pierce Brosnan on the poster, I'm like, what's oof?
And then I remember Mars Attack. I remember seeing trailers for Mars Attacks, and I wanted to see it. And I think my parents at the time were like, nah, like I don't think you should see this. But then it came out on VHS, and I was like, we got to rent this, and they're like, all right.
What do you remember? What
Uh,
their apprehension about you seeing this particularly well? Because you had seen Independence Day, which was before this, right?
yes.
Yeah, Independence Day came out in July. This
I
came out in
think
December.
I think
Okay, same year. Okay.
I think they felt. I think there was like, they weren't sure if it was going to be like too crude or sexual, maybe, or I don't know.
Okay.
Which is wild because Independence Day has a stripper scene with Vivica A. Fox, which is very that changed my life in a lot of ways. So.
It would, Brandon. It would.
Yeah.
James, what's your relationship with Martian?
This was at the height of my Tim Burton standum in my life, and so I was also a big like alien movie person, but I was like, oh, I gotta go see this. Tim Burton is doing an alien something, and I loved the 50s style of the saucer and stuff like that. So I remember it like flooring me, like Jack Nicholson playing two characters and like it being so bright so and weird and strange, like and I was rewatching it for this with my wife, and I was like, man, like I think I've only seen this movie like twice, but it is an all-timer for me. Like I love I love it. It's so bizarre and just as a perfect time capsule of the day, I think.
Yeah. I definitely saw it more than twice. Twice because I was like, I really remember this movie. But the one thing I didn't remember was that Jack Nicholson was playing two different characters, and I feel like I just didn't realize that.
Like I remember that as a kid being very confused by that. Like, why is he in this movie twice? And like the roles are even like crazy. They're both insane roles, and he's just clearly like Tim Burton was like, "Hey man, I just like working with you, Jack. Just do your thing.
Yeah, do your thing, man." I do remember also just being like, man, this cast is stacked. There's like so many people in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think because also this year the Nutty Professor came out? You think there's like,
that's right.
Hey, I hear Eddie Murphy's playing like 12 characters in this movie. Jack's just like, I got it.
It's so funny because like
no more.
the other is like so it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter to the story. Right. It's like it's not. It's weird. It's just like what? Why did you do this? Like if you cut that entire character out of the movie, like you would miss literally nothing.
Yeah. So the Art Land role was originally going to be played by Michael Keaton, but according to the trivia that our producer found, he had to drop out because Jack Nicholson was only going to play the president, and then Tim Burton was explicitly told not to kill Jack Nicholson's character, and so he cast Nicholson in two roles and killed them.
Killed both of them.
Yeah, because he's like, "Who gonna stop me? Like I did Batman. Like, come on." Man. But I remember seeing this movie and being like surprised by how many people died. Like when Michael J. Fox died, I remember being like, "God damn!"
Shocking. No, it was like real.
Marty McFly.
Yeah.
Well, I guess also just to make to hit this budget, they had to get people out of there early. You know what I'm saying? It was like, hey, we're gonna play you, $2 million and a Subway sandwich. Like, but you're only gonna be on set for like 20 days.
The budget was $80 million for 1996. But that is funny though. It's like the Chris Evans line in Deadpool and Wolverine, where it's like, "Oh no, Deadpool says he's like, you know what Chris Evans was doing to the budget? We had to kill him so fast." Spoiler, everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I forgot that like Ray J and Soul Food were in this movie.
Yeah.
Pam Greer's their
calling
mom.
the boy Soul Food. His name is not Soul Food.
Brandon Hammond. I know his name. That's how geeky I am about this shit. But I like to call him Soul Food because everybody knows Soul
Kinky?
Food.
Did you say you're kinky about it?
No, I said Brandon Hammond is his name, not Kiki or Kiki.
No, I think you said that's how kinky I am, but you say geeky. Okay.
Geeky.
I think you said kinky. I was just like, whoa, Brandon, I didn't know
I'm
like that
kinky.
for you.
Ascribe nicknames to every actor.
Trivia. I mean, everybody got their freak. You know what I mean? It's to each his own.
I guess so. All right. So basically, Mars Attacks, I think is pretty straightforward. here comes aliens, and then basically the world is just like, let's figure this shit out. I like how we started where like it seemed like in the middle of nowhere, like farmland, this Asian guy is talking. It feels like an old bad joke.
So
You know what I'm
weird.
saying?
Yeah.
An Asian guy and a white guy are standing next to the road, and then and he's like, "Are you barbecuing? Is it like Filipino New Year or something like that?" He's like, "No, what are you talking about?" And then all of a sudden, here comes like 60 cows running down the road on fire, and for some reason, the Filipino guy's family comes running out of the house to watch all of this cattle go running by on fire. Like, I was just like, what's going on here? Immediately, I'm like, all right, this is crazy. I haven't seen this in a while.
Yeah. I will say that like that scene held up pretty well. Like some of the CGI is really rough in this, but there's some things where I was like, oh, that's still kind of effective. Like this movie to me is kind of a mess, but like there's some things where I'm like, I absolutely see what Tim Burton was going for. And like,
yeah, I mean, I feel like
fits.
it was intentionally cartoony CGI even then, though, right? Like it was already, especially coming out the same year as Independence Day, where we're seeing like we saw real aliens, like we saw real aliens destroy the entire world, and then this movie comes out, it was like, okay, yeah, it's definitely in a different category.
So,
and again, guys, remember this year we also got the Nutty Professor. We got Buddy Love.
1996 was a wild year, and I remember this came out in December, so it was like near like the winter holidays and stuff. And I remember like being so freaked out by the head switching that they do with Pierce Brosnan. Like they rip his body apart. Then they put Sarah Jessica Parker's head on a chihuahua. Her chihuahua.
No, you got it right, Barker.
Yo, I was so fucked up. I was so like that. I remember as a kid just being like, this is visually like just freaking me out. And then they make out at the end before they die and stuff. Like, yeah, it was twisted. This movie was, and then like not even get started on the female, the decoy.
Just
they had that, like Martin Short.
Why
was
they have to do that to us? You know what I'm saying? Why they have to do? Yeah. They got the pinup lady with the big hair. Why she have to be a pinup lady? It didn't have to look. They didn't need to do that.
It's so bizarre.
It's really bizarre, and it's surprisingly dark. Like when the general, it reminded me of like a really dark, like a Family Guy cutscene or something like that. When the black general is calling his family, like, all I had to do was ask, and I finally got the big job.
Bro, that was, I think, maybe my favorite joke in the whole movie. Like, literally, so he's just like, I told you, if I stayed quiet and spoke up at the right time, And then there's
like, I also love the fact is like, in that moment, he just broke character. He was so stern and just like straightforward. He's just like, oh my God, this is my opportunity. And he's just like, boom, right back. And then boom, dead.
I do think there's something like really funny though. Like it's dark. It's really twisted. But when people like shoot their shot, because we always get the Eminem like make sure to go for your shot and like Hamilton. But then people fail when they try to take their shot. Like that episode of Atlanta with the kid at the mall who's like trying to be a rapper, and he's like his girl's like it's like you gotta make something happen. He's like, I'm gonna take my shot. Paperboy comes in the mall and he tries to rap him. Paperboy pushes him through a window. He's like, get the fuck out of my way. It's just like, oh man, they did try though. They did try.
Listen, that's all you can do, baby.
Yeah, but what did y'all think about okay, Pam Grier's character? Can we talk about her real quick? So Jim Brown's her ex-husband. He works in Vegas. She is in DC raising two boys, their two sons. Right?
The thing that's weird about this whole storyline is the fact that it's actually like super grounded and like it's weird because like every other storyline doesn't feel grounded at all. Every other storyline is kind of comedic and cartoonish and like silly, and like Jim Brown is playing like just a super grounded guy who's just like, yeah, I got divorced from my wife, but we're trying to work it out. I'm trying to be a better person. And
he's dressed as an Egyptian.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Like I have this crappy job at this freaking Vegas thing, and I'm just trying to go and see my kids, and then like Pam Grier's just like, I'm a single mom who's like working hard, trying to rile in these like rowdy boys. And like, That's it. Like, I think they have like the one comedic, like, I mean, if you even call it a comedic, like the scene where she like yells at her kids and then like drags them on the bus, and
Right.
then everybody on the bus like
But
applauds.
Yeah.
that's
That
the
was
only
insane.
part about it that's funny is that they all
Right.
applaud the thing, but
That made no sense because I'm like, y'all don't know this woman. Her
That's-
kids haven't been home in 2 days. She's
Yeah,
not
true.
doing a good
That's
job.
true.
It
Don't
was also
applaud
weird
this.
because like, like whenever you watch these comedies, you're like, well, they are like making commentary and trying to say something, and like when that happened, I was like, what are you trying to say here? Like, are you saying like, oh, like people don't I think maybe most generous interpretation is like people don't discipline their kids enough, and so it's great to see this mom disciplining her kids, but like it was hard to not see the blackness, like
Yeah.
and be like,
Yep.
freaking somebody check these black kids. To the fool,
You know-
finally somebody's checking them, and I was just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Do you remember back in the
Oh,
day when you get those commercials? It's like, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children
yeah,
are?
absolutely.
Like, that was they were directly saying, hey,
Yeah.
black folks, get your kids in the house.
Yeah.
That's all that was. And that's why, and I feel like that scene, they were just like, finally, they're taking their kids home.
I mean, I did like they did have some type of, the writer at least knew of some kids of color around this time when they wrote this, because the whole like, bait and switch, like, I'm not going to hit you. Just come here. Just come here. Like,
yeah.
We all fell for that as kids. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you promise you're not going to hit me. You're like,
Okay,
I just want to talk to you.
But
Just
let
come
him
here.
go.
I like
Okay.
I like the Soul Food's like, let go of him. I like that.
All right, I just gotta do this quick aside because I didn't even recognize that as her until I was like, oh, and then she died. Christina Applegate is randomly in this movie.
yeah, she
looking
is.
incredibly weird and so freaking hot for some reason. I don't know why, but I
Wait,
just
for
like-
some reason.
What do you mean? That was her whole
where
thing.
was she in this movie?
she was Jack, wasn't she Jack Black's
Yeah,
like girlfriend?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that remember
Oh,
she
You
was
barely
shit.
saw her. You barely saw her face. Honestly.
Yeah, she's like chewing gum all weird. I was just like, they had her just doing crazy shit in the background.
I didn't realize that was her.
And then she's banging the dude in the trailer next to them when the
Yeah.
parents are like arming up for war and stuff.
right.
After he gets killed.
Yeah, I don't
It's
even
so-
know
it's
if
so
we
insane.
know if she gets. I guess we assume she gets killed.
Yeah.
in
But to your
yeah.
point though, Jonathan, you're right. Like Pam Greer's like that whole plot line is the most grounded for like it could only be like black people don't get to be part of comedy. You know what I mean? Like,
It's a weird. Like, I don't know. Like I wasn't. I really was trying to. I wasn't trying to make meaning of it because I was just like, I guess this is it. And there's a part of it that's kind of cool because like they all survive. They're like
Jim Brown's
the kids
hero.
are. Yeah, Jim Brown's a
Yeah.
hero. The kids are like murking aliens left and right. Like they're
Yeah.
like
They
they're
saved
so
the
cool.
president.
Yeah.
Right.
So like I was like in that side of it was really cool, but I did think it was like I was like, oh, it's so interesting. Like you gave these people the grounded story.
But does
Yeah.
that
Guys,
feel
do you
like
think ever at a LA Lakers game that Jack Nicholson's just enjoying his game courtside? He's having, his chillaxing, got his glasses on, and then Ray J comes up to him and was like, "Hey, dog, do you remember me? Like, we did Mars Attacks together."
you ain't give me no
Ray-
bits in that? I ain't get no bits in Mars Attacks.
How come I never acted again, Jack?
You play two
But-
characters and I ain't get to play I ain't get to do no bits, Jack.
Do you know how much pool I have in Los Angeles? I'm one of the original gangsters. I'm
Justin,
the
why
first
is your-
Crip.
Why does her Ray J sound like Ice-T?
Hilarious.
I don't know, man. Because Ray J thinks that he's Ice-T. That's why. That's the problem. He actually, in actuality, he'd probably walk up to Blackjack and say something. Blackjack, oh my God. Well, maybe Blackjack as well. Jack Nicholson, and say something like, "It's like, I used to sleep with Whitney Houston," or something like wild like that. Because Ray J is just different. He's just so different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, James. What were you saying?
Well, no, it's not important, but it is going off of this thing that Justin just said though. It is weird to like watch him like save the president in this, and they'd be like, man, he's gonna go on to fuck Kim Kardashian in a video. You know, like it's so weird. It's so weird that's just.
And that'll be the height. That'll be the end of his story.
Yeah.
Where
Now,
his fame ends. Yeah.
I will say this movie is surprisingly pretty funny. Like there's some parts that like
For
when the
sure.
dude like released the doves.
I mean, it's a comedy, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but I remember like being younger, like and seeing this a few times. I think I've seen it maybe 4 times total. Not really laughing that much, but this time I was like, oh, there's some wild stuff in here, like releasing the doves, and then the Martians start killing everybody. This actually, this did the 1917 run with the camera twice. Once with Jack Black running towards the across the battlefield.
Sure.
And the second time with Michael J. Fox, actually. I was like, okay. So I see
Yeah.
Sam
Same
Mendes saw Mars attacks. He's like, I have an idea.
oh my goodness.
You know, it's also just a crazy fact is like the world kept falling for the okie doke of the aliens. It's like, hey guys, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. We
That was
didn't mean to do
hilarious.
that. Hey,
So funny.
let's have a meeting.
By the way, what like, and maybe it really wasn't that deep, but like, was there some commentary being made that like the world governments are like too peaceful? Like I couldn't quite under. I was just like, what are we? Like it was so weird that like they were kind of like the one guy who kept being like, we gotta nuke them. And it was just like, yeah, this
That
guy
guy
is
was-
right.
That was wild.
But I did
General
like
just
that.
wearing sunglasses the whole time.
Yeah, I did like that when they did finally nuke him, it didn't do anything. So it was
Yeah.
kind of like, and then I kind of thought like, oh, were they just trying to do like the reverse of like Doctor Strange and like just have like a bunch of people who are like there was one line where like the
Doctor Strangelove, right?
Strangelove, yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of our fans would be like, the Marvel movie?
Doctor Strangelove, or how I wait, what is it? Or how I learned to stop worrying,
and love the bomb.
and
love the
love the
Mm.
bomb.
Fucking Kubrick.
I there was like a moment where like the general comes out and he's just like yelling in the hallway and he's like and he screams peacemongers and I was like that is funny. It's funny to just have a general be like stupid peacemongers.
I mean,
And
I
then-
do also
Oh,
think
he
there
always
was like,
the real world.
yeah, but I also do think there was like something like also. I think there's definitely some racial elements to like the joke about like the black general being sent instead of the white guy.
Right.
I think there probably was something cut where Jack Nicholson's like, "Hey, I'm putting the folks at the front line." You know what I mean? Like,
Right. I also thought I
then-
was like, were they making fun of Colin Powell? Was he
He did have very similar Colin
Maybe.
Powell.
yeah.
You know, kind of, yeah.
And I don't know if it matches Colin Powell specifically, but there is something to the way he talks about how like all I had to do was keep my head down and say nothing. You know,
Right,
like,
exactly.
That
Yeah.
specifically,
Oh,
I
that's
thought
true.
I
That's
thought
true,
that did
James.
stand out as like a specific
Yeah.
race thing when he said
Right.
I wrote down
yeah.
several times in my notes. This movie's out of control.
No, it is wild, and they're okay. Also, like they have like this whole running bit about the fact that they like live in the White House, and like Natalie Portman keeps just being like, you know, people live here, or like she's trying to walk through, and they're like, sorry, there's a tour, and I was just like, what a weird thing to like comment on.
Yeah.
I was just like. It's just weird. I mean, I think it's just random and it's just supposed to be like random and funny, but I just thought it was like so weird. Like, especially when they were like running from the aliens and then the guy was like, no, not this way. There's a tour.
Yeah.
Some people, it's like the Titanic, Jonathan. Some people keep doing their job until, it's the end.
Until they get
Yeah.
disintegrated by an alien.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's what was so
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
like about the campiness of it. I think before, like when I saw this, especially in 1996, I think because Independence Day is done so straight. You know what I mean? Like Will Smith brings
Yeah.
the levity and like brings the comedy, but like for the most part, it's a pretty
Yeah, it's
serious
not a comedy
sci-fi
at all.
movie, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this is just completely insane. I think for Tim Burton, this is a bit more of a wilder swing for him doing comedy in his work. And so I think for me as like a fan, like I was just kind of more confused tonally about what's going on and like what's supposed to be funny and what's not. I think especially like back then because of representation stuff like that. So seeing the one black family trying to get through this and like it's done so seriously compared to like Tom Jones popping up out of nowhere and shit. I'm like, I don't know which way is up with this movie. You know?
Yeah.
Wait, who was that?
The Egyptian woman.
Yeah, the Egyptian woman.
I don't know who that was, but I remember seeing her in a still shot press release at Entertainment Weekly before this movie came out, and I had a crush on her. I don't even know the actress's name, but I remember having a crush on her before I even knew what the movie was about.
Fair. That is fair. I was
That's when I
just
used to
like,
get
whoa,
Entertainment
who
Weekly
that?
in print when it was expensive.
Yeah, like, everybody was like, who was
What
that?
did y'all think
Yeah.
about Michael J. Fox though, trying to save Sarah Jessica Parker, and then he dies, and then she just like continues her flirty relationship with
Yeah,
Pierce
I mean, it's
Brosnan's crazy
pretty
character.
funny. You know, I think they're trying to show him. Yeah, he was supposed to have this heroic moment, and it wasn't heroic at all. And he dies, and also she doesn't care and doesn't care about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, this watch, it like stood out. It really stood out to me though, also just like how much they didn't work even before this, you know, like like
He was jealous of
he
her.
was jealous and all that
she-
all that stuff,
Yeah.
and the way he like talks to the dog, and it's just like, you're not this isn't, something doesn't work here between the two of them. But that he still is like, I'm gonna run across this war zone for her, for what, like for what, even it's probably more for him than it is for her or whatever. Yeah, that I liked that.
It's very interesting. Apparently, Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's symptoms were visible during the Martian attack scene and integrated into his character. Interesting.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's doing a lot of like he's doing a lot of hand
nervous tics
mashing
and stuff.
and stuff in this, and yeah, that makes sense.
That's interesting.
So the actress who played whatever her name is, Janice Rivera. She's from Puerto Rico. She was also in Bulletproof and
Okay,
Blame
great.
It on the Vodka.
Great.
Nothing else about that's it. Only knows
Adding
she's
all
really
of these
hot.
films to the queue, adding them to the
Blame it
queue.
on the
Yeah.
vodka. Yeah, yeah.
Had to find that one out.
How was this movie not rated R though? Because I forget, like I didn't remember like blood dripping out of Pierce Brosnan's like neck wound and stuff like that. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I think because a lot of the violence was pretty cartoonish.
Yeah, it's campy.
Even though it was they're vaporized and then they turn to skeletons. But it's like because they're colored skeletons, it's okay, you know, or something like that. And then obviously it didn't have a lot. They removed the curse, profanity, and didn't have nudity. So, but I do think like, I mean, I haven't seen enough of these like B movies, like 1950, like late, like, you know, old, like super old B movies. I think there was a lot of homage being paid to that. And so I'm sure there are like jokes that we like weren't quite getting, like you would get if you like grew up watching those.
Yeah,
old
like
sci-fi
this
movies.
just sort of feels weird, you know,
Yeah.
and like that sort of never lets up. Whereas like if you were familiar with the movies, you would be like, oh, and that's this, and this is giving you this,
Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like the whole grandma stuff was weird. I mean, even like
Yeah.
the
Oh,
ending
I
of the
love-
movie is. I mean, like,
That's
yeah.
great.
Well, like, I mean, that's how they learn all about the music, interrupting, you know, like fucking them up and stuff. But it's so crazy because the machine that they have, it's so big, just to
Yeah.
shoot grandma in the back, and then you know what I mean? It's just so cartoonish, and that's what like, yeah, this movie is
Yeah.
just so weird. Like none of it like
Right.
really like connects. Like not like it doesn't gel like the way like, you know, and not anthology films and stuff, but like the movies that have all these different plot lines that come together, it never gels fully. Like it just sporadically, like people are just thrown together. Like Tom Jones randomly is thrown together, and then he could fly a plane.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, I can
What is it?
fly one.
Annette Bening's like, you can fly this, right? Tom's like, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can. What's new, pussycat? Whoa!
Insane.
Yeah, I mean, this is a wild film, but also at the same time, I feel like they had lots of fun filming this. And I feel like that came through on screen because it just seemed like everybody was super relaxed and they just didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
mean, Jack Nicholson's final speech was cuckoo bananas, but he was sold the shit out of it.
I mean, and that also his first
He was
first one
great.
really stood out to me too. The one where he's talking about like about what even what it means for aliens to like exist and stuff, and it was like he is like acting this, like you know what I mean? Like you can see
He
the
was
inner
great.
life of him. Like I'm very moved to tell you, you know, like you're like oh my god,
That's good. That was a good one.
Yeah, doing his FDR fireside chat.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was like, this looks so familiar. That's why.
Yeah. All he needed was tuberculosis. Well, was it tuberculosis? No, was it TB that he had, or was no? He had polio.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
polio, right? That's
Yeah,
what,
it's
like,
polio.
why
So
he had the
sorry.
wheelchair.
Oh,
Yeah.
FDR, yeah.
Yeah, which is
At
coming
first second, I thought you were
Uh,
talking about Jack Nicholson, and I was so confused.
back. Really?
What?
Jack Nicholson. He has polio.
He has polio.
I did love that joke with the reporter in the Oval Office with the creepy voice. He was like, "Do Martians have two sexes like we do?"
Yeah.
I think my wife, when we were watching it together, my wife was like, "He wants to fuck that alien."
And then the aliens are so horny, like you're just like, and then it was also like, are they all male? Like, what's going on? Like they only like the
Bro.
female body.
I mean,
Yeah.
because immediately they saw Sarah Jessica Parker. It was like, get her on the ship right now.
Yeah.
And they just see them carrying a white woman onto the ship. And like, that's not gonna go well.
But they do take Pierce Brosnan for some reason, and we never quite know why. Right? They just remove his
They
head.
just dismantle him.
Well, I
Yeah.
feel like they were doing this whole thing with the British, like especially with his character, like because he speaks in that accent and like smokes a pipe, he's the smartest dude in the room. Like, he's just so cool and so smart, and so like basically, why wouldn't aliens dissect him to figure out how his body works?
Why does
That's how I thought of it, because every scene he's smoking that pipe, it just like looks so like like deep in thought, and then he just kind of summarizes what everyone said. Like he doesn't really add anything.
Well,
Yeah.
they're intelligent, therefore one must surmise that they are peaceful. You're just like, what?
What? Yeah.
As they just vaporized like 40 people.
Ah,
Like,
it was probably the dove. Guess it wasn't the dove.
no birds allowed in this one, guys.
But I just would have really liked there to be a little bit more of a comedic beat with that character, especially given how like smooth and confident he was when the aliens really do start wrecking shop, and he's just like, "Oh well, fuck me."
right?
Yeah, it's funny because it's like, yeah, the comedy is definitely the comedy of the script is like it's there, but it's soft, and it's also like because it's not, at least to me, it wasn't super clear all the time like what exactly they were satirizing or lampooning, like, or I was like, is this a commentary on this like current state of politics? And I was like trying to think back to like 1996 and like what like the Clinton administration or like what they were trying to say, and I was just like, and I don't think Jack Nicholson was trying to do like anything about Clinton, or I think he like just created his own president. Like it didn't seem like and so then I
That
was
wasn't
just
a
like
Clinton, John Travolta, primary colors kind of thing.
yeah, and so I think like devoid of that, it kind of made everything just feel a little bit weird. And unless it was, and I know it was, I saw that, I know like they said the property is based off of like a card game, which is nothing. So I was just like, I don't know, what is this? It just feels like, hey, we're making a disaster alien film that is comedic, but it's not it's funny, but it's not like super funny. So it's just kind of weird, like Tim Burton weird. And yeah.
Well, before we get to like reading some letterbox reviews and then getting to our assessment of this movie, I gotta say, this movie technically is considered a flop. It made $101.37 million against an $80 million budget. Pretty expensive in 1996. But everyone, this is what we were working with in 1996. This is a golden age of cinema. I'm sorry, like this is incredible. In 1996, y'all, we got Independence Day. We got Twister. We got the first Mission Impossible. We got The Rock with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery. We got The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Not my favorite Disney movie, but it still slapped. 101 Dalmatians live action. Ransom with
Nutty
Mel
Professor.
Gibson.
Don't forget the Nutty Professor.
It's coming, Justin.
Okay.
Nutty Professor. We got Jerry
There we go.
Maguire. We got Scream.
yeah,
And then we
Jerry
had
Maguire.
Space Jam. A Time to Kill, Matilda, and Fargo, all in
Ooh,
1996.
Space Jam.
So Mars Attacks, it's cool, but like it was going against some heavy hitters. Like people were mad that this didn't do that well. I'm like, look at the year, guy. Like,
And
Well, I think
and to come out in
yeah.
December is like
It's a weird time for it to come out because it was like the movie came out in the winter, and this movie is a summer movie, but it's like it couldn't have come out in the summer because it would have done probably even worse running up
next
against
to
Independence Day.
Day.
But and the other thing is that Independence Day had come out and was so cool, but like this movie, because it came out when it did, it wasn't like it couldn't really even parody Independence Day. You know what I mean? And so like it doesn't quite work in that sense.
It also didn't have a young breakout star. Like Independence Day, like everyone like is firing on all cylinders, but Will Smith like was huge. Like that like was a huge moment for him. This movie had Jack Nicholson like in a great role, but other than that, like there wasn't any real standouts.
And if you think about it, even like in terms of like comparing Tim Burton movies, like Beetlejuice, I feel like did so well because it was people weren't so used to Tim Burton then, so his aesthetic was really cool. But also like Michael Keaton just has such an incredible performance with such like very interesting character, and I think Jack Nicholson's performance is really good in this movie, but like the character's not really that interesting, and definitely not like something that people are like going to dress up as, And the aliens aren't real characters; they're just kind of props because we can never understand them. Like they're jokes, like they play for jokes, but like they're not characters at all.
Yes, the original Minions.
Yeah.
There with it. But our producer,
I can see that. I can kind of see that.
Yeah. So Justin knows we always pull up some letterbox reviews that our producer Lluvia thinks that it's worthy of reading on the show.
Great.
So first up from Letterbox is Quinny, who wrote, "I want the cast of this movie tatted on my ass. 4 out of 5 stars." That's such a wild thing to say.
No, I agree.
I mean, it is a great cast. I mean,
the whole cast.
Now, James, you say you agree. The names or the faces?
I think it's faces. I think you gotta go with faces.
That's a lot of white faces in the book.
A lot of faces.
Yeah, I know.
They believe they have a lot of real estate.
I'm pretty sure Ray J wouldn't mind.
Ethan Colbert wrote, "Don't let logic get in the way of a good time. If you accept what you're seeing is batshit crazy, it's quite a good movie and bold, especially at a budget of $70 million. This has one of the best casts ever assembled in a single film. You will never see anything like this. 3 out of 5 stars." I think that last line is definitely right.
Yeah, and also I will say, like, the logic stuff didn't bother me because it was a comedy. Like, I have no problem with that.
It's also the 90s. That's the thing is like, I don't know. I know you all are, Jonathan and James, especially you all write in the industry. You have to do pitches and stuff. And then sometimes people are like, well, this is kind of crazy. I'm like, have you been through the 90s? Did you see the
stuff was just happening?
Like, Cab Nowhere. Come on. Let me remake it. It's okay. They didn't have CPS back then.
We got to get here to here. I don't know. And just throw something. He's on a pigeon, and then we're there. Like that's.
Jamel Bowie wrote about Mars Attacks. "Play better in my memory than on the screen." 2 out of 5 stars.
That's fair.
Fair.
That's fair.
I disagree.
Yeah.
No.
Amaya wrote, "What the fuck is Tim Burton on, and why do people let him make movies targeted at children? No stars." I don't know if it's targeted for children.
Yeah.
I remember the poster had Sarah Jessica Parker on the dog. So,
yeah, I don't
I mean, it was creepy from the
towards
beginning.
Children. Maybe children wanted to see it because it was aliens, but I don't think it was targeted towards children.
That's interesting.
It's PG-13.
Liam Barrett wrote, "It's like Independence Day if it shit itself." 4 out of 5 stars.
Jesus Christ. 4 out of 5.
Right.
Also 4 out of 5. Like, so that was a good review.
Yeah.
Because that is sort of what it was aiming for. Like, without having ID4 as an actual benchmark when making the movie, it is aiming for like a good premium movie that that is on drugs or that shit itself, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
Have we had a comedic alien invasion movie since Mars Attacks?
Since?
Does that count?
What is it?
Men in Black.
Men in
Does
Black.
that
When
count?
was that? Was that
I don't
97?
think so.
That was
Oh,
97. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Men in Black is well, Men in Black is funny, but I don't quite consider it a comedy. Is that weird? Men in Black
a
is my
little
second
strange,
favorite movie
but-
of all
but-
time.
Yeah. I feel like comedy is the
Doesn't make
main
it not a
genre before even sci-fi.
Wait,
I don't know.
It
I
seems
remember
like you're
laughing
saying
immediately.
it's my favorite movie, which means it can't be a comedy.
No, I mean that's not what I'm saying.
There's
That's not what
nothing
I'm
funny
saying.
about that movie. It's serious.
No, it's definitely comedic.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, you're right. I guess it's a comedy.
But you sort of see it as like an act, like it's maybe sci-fi or action first before it is.
yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
I
But
get
barely,
that.
Jones is
but
in it.
barely.
Nothing
There's a
funny
lot
about
of.
him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
I
thing
mean
is,
Tommy
like,
Lee
even when I
Jones
think about-
has some funny stuff in it though.
He does.
Yeah,
Just
but
'cause
even
of
when I
how-
think about the
yeah.
action, it's always paired with comedy. Like even like
Yeah.
Will Smith tracking the one dude down at the very beginning. He's like NYPD, which stands for knock your punk ass down. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just everything was always like had a punchline with it. So
It's why MIB
that's why.
International
Okay,
didn't quite work
here's-
because it wasn't.
And this might not be right,
Mm.
but and we've talked about this on our podcast. Here's how I like
I'm listening. Let's cook.
this is how I like kind of draw the line with comedies where I think the movie is comedy first. I feel like movies are comedy first if their premise is comedic. If your premise isn't really comedic, then
That is true. Men in Black, the log line, it would be like grounded. I mean, I guess it'd be like, how would you describe Will Smith's character initially? He's like an overzealous NYPD officer.
right.
Is that how you would describe him?
Mhm.
Yeah, but he's
Logline, maybe?
cool. But he's cool, and he's
He's
put
cool.
into a
He's funny,
situation.
but he's
Yeah.
not like the movie is actually about a secret organization that protects the Earth
It's not about
from
him.
aliens.
Yeah.
And like
Sure.
and that is really what they do, and they're not really making fun. There isn't one of those, and so it's like there is comedy throughout the movie, and the movie is comedic, but it's not like comedy first.
No, no, you know what? I get exactly what you mean because, like, even
Yeah.
like Bad Boys, right?
Right.
It's an action.
Yeah,
It's an
there's
action
so much
movie,
jokes
but
and
there's
laughs.
so many
Right.
comedy
The
elements.
first one
to it.
especially. The first
Yeah.
one's like action
Yeah.
centered, and then after that it became more comedic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
That's
like,
real.
yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That's
Yeah.
a good way to break them down.
Speaking of other movies, real quick, our producer Lluvia said we'd be remiss not to ask you all, why did you pick this movie out of the list that she sent you, films for us to talk about?
I can't remember which others were on the list, but this stood
Right.
out as like as a fun sci-fi romp
Exactly.
to revisit.
Love sci-fi. Sci-fi is my favorite genre. I remembered watching this movie as a kid and liking it, even though I kind of knew at the time that other people didn't like it. I liked Tim Burton. Like, it's weird. And I also remember there were black people in it, and like the black people like did well. Like I remember the black
Yeah, they
people survived, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I remember
yeah.
thinking like that was really cool and like didn't happen a lot in these kinds of movies. So I did enjoy that.
Yeah, what's wild is I feel like we're regressing in that. Black people survived Independence Day. We survived Mars Attack. We survived a few other movies in the 90s. And now I've been seeing movies where I'm like, there is no reason for that black character to die. Like, why did that
They went
happen?
out their way to
It's
kill
2025. But
Mission Impossible. Only got to die.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's not talk about that. But Justin, break down our rate system, baby.
Stop calling me baby. So, guys, you know how we do is we rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, buttery, delicious popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So we sat down, we watched the 1996 science fiction comedy film, Mars Attacks, starring a whole bunch of people. Jack Nicholson, Glenn Close, Annette Bening, Pierce Brosnan, Danny DeVito, Jim Brown, Pam Grier, Ray J.
Danny DeVito is in this.
What say you guys?
It's either hot buttery popcorn or stale. This is a binary system.
Yeah, and you know, there's different different tiers. So like small, medium, large, XL for the exceptional, or then you just make it stale.
Oh, I see. Small, medium, large. I would give it a small buttery popcorn.
Okay.
Ooh, small
Yeah.
buttery.
Small buttery popcorn.
I think I'm gonna go. It's a medium buttery popcorn, but I also got the spillover. I got like one of those, you know how they give you the carton sometimes? You can like put a little bit of extra popcorn in that. That's what it's not quite a large. You know what I mean? But it's between the two.
Okay.
Okay, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a small. I was thinking leaning towards a medium, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a small just because while I did enjoy some parts of it, and it's not that long of a movie, it's a little under 2 hours. There were parts where I was like, man, totally, that's really weird. Or like, to Jonathan's earlier point, like I don't quite know where you were trying to get with this, like, because I'm like, is this satirical, like fully, or is there just moments where it's satirical, but overall it's just trying to be silly, almost like a la like a airplane or like a Spaceballs kind of spoof thing. And so for me, that's where I was kind of like, it never quite fully clicked with me. And I also like thought there was opportunities. I saw opportunities where I'm like, I would have utilized this cast a little bit more. Like when you have this top tier talent, I think you could have had them stretch out a little bit more. I think Jack Nicholson was the only one that was really allowed to like be really crazy.
Right.
Yeah. But that's just my thought. Justin, what's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a medium. I watched this today and like I had so much stuff going on, but like this actually held my attention. A lot of the times, especially those comedies from the 90s, is either they're pretty good or they're pretty terrible. Like this like fell right into that zone. It was like, you know what? This is actually pretty enjoyable. I think it did what it's supposed to do. It wasn't too serious. It was wild. But like, yeah, like it was just a fun watch. Sitting down watching it. So definitely a medium popcorn from me.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. That's our review on Mars Attacks with the homies from Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood. I did it too formal.
Cannot. The black men cannot.
Yes.
They
James and
can't
Jonathan,
they shan't.
Please tell our listeners how they can keep up with y'all, like whether you have shows or the podcast, all that stuff. Anything you want to promote?
Our podcast you can listen to anywhere. We have a website, blackmenpodcast.com, where we have links to. We also have a Patreon where we do bonus episodes for super loyal listeners who want bonus content. And if you're in Los Angeles and want to see some improv, I'm on a team called Dance Club Remix, the Herald team that performs at the UCB Theater in Los Angeles. So you can check that out. I sometimes have, when I am doing it right, johnbraylock.com is where those show dates are. Sometimes I get lazy and I forget to put them up.
Understood.
You can follow me
James?
at Rule of 3 Inc. 3 is the number 3. Rule3inc.com. I got some comic books on there. You should check them out.
All right. All right, folks. And as always, you can follow the show at Medium P Podcast on all social media platforms, MediumPopcorn.com for all your Medium Popcorn needs, or you can take yourself over to YouTube.com/Medium Popcorn Podcast. Press that subscribe button so you get alerted about all future reviews and celebrity interviews we have on the page. And if y'all want to follow me personally, you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram, FrodoBlackens.com for my show dates. I got some Drunk Black History shows coming up. James was a guest on the one at Los Angeles. That was a lot of fun. So we're coming out to Brooklyn, Detroit, New Orleans. So get your tickets at drunkblackhistory.com for that. And then, Justin, how can people follow you as well as support the show financially if they choose to do so, my brother?
Guys, you can follow me at JBrownDid on all social media platforms. Guess what, guys? I got my IG back. I'm sorry. I got hacked. Anyhow.
Oh, no.
But you guys can also support this show on Patreon, patreon.com/Medium Popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages. Our entire backlog goes on the Patreon. We have so much bonus content on there. What are you doing? Why aren't you on there already? Again, that's patreon.com/Medium Popcorn.
Chitty, chitty, bang, bang. Jonathan and James, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate y'all. And folks, stay safe out there. And if the alien invasion is upon us, don't drive to welcome these fuckers.
Stay away.
Let
all the white people go.
You gotta feel it out first. Feel it
Watch
out
from afar. You know what I mean? Annette Bening did survive with her crystals and everything. We didn't even talk about her.
We barely sat on this. She sat on the canyon.
Great.
Yeah. But guys, thank you so much. We appreciate y'all.
We shall.
Peace.
Whatever you said. Peace.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.